says and see if it matches anything. All right, but for our purposes, in terms of answering questions, I've separated everything out so we can look at it step by step. I don't want that one. Yeah, I do want this one. Okay. All right, so let's look at this one. Let's do. Let me make sure anybody has any questions before I keep going. No questions? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and let's look at what Mr. Canio said and what Miss Murphy said, right? So look at what he said, look what she said, and then try to decide if what they said matches number 4, 5, 6, or 7. All right, so go ahead and take 3 minutes, read the sentence, see if it matches anything. This question is more challenging because you're dealing with paraphrasing, right? You have to be able to look at the sentence, look at what this person says, and then see if you see matching language in one of the questions. So it's all about your ability to understand paraphrasing and synonym language. That's the whole test. Paraphrasing and synonym language. Paraphrasing and synonym language. All right, if you can, go ahead and write your answer on the screen, please. Write your answers for me. All right. All right, so let's have a look at it. Canayo argued that governments can significantly reduce risk for farmers by providing basic services like roads to get produce more efficiently. So Canayo is a match for number 9. That means number 9 is A, right? So you would mark number 9 as being A for Canoyo. Then for Murphy, suggested that the procurement and holding of stocks by governments can also help mitigate wild swings of food prices. That means that for Murphy, number 8 is B. right? So 8 is a match for Sophie. That means for number 8, you would put B. For number 9, you would put A. Okay? It's all about reading the sentence, finding which one matches. Okay? All right, good job. Let's now look at Miss Fan and Mr. Rokia. All right, Mr. Rokia and Mr. Fan. I don't know if it's Mr. or Mrs. Okay, but go ahead and take 2 or 3 minutes and let's see if their information matches anything. Okay, everybody, please write your answers. All right, so yes, let's read and go over it. Here we go. Mr. Fan held up social safety nets and public welfare programs in Ethiopia, Brazil, and Mexico as valuable ways to address poverty among farming families and reduce their vulnerability to agricultural shocks. This is the match for number 6. Financial assistance from the government can improve the standard of living of farmers. So number 6 will be C. And for Mr. Rokia, right, commented in her essay that these have not compensated for the stranglehold exercised by private traders, right? So Rokia is a match for number 4, right? Is number 4. So number 4 is D. 4 is D. All right, let's do one more. Right, let's read Pat Mooney, Murphy, and Gil Thon. Right, we only have number 5 to do and number 7. Right, so we know out of these next 3, 2 of them for 5 are for 5 and 7, and 1 of them does not belong. So go ahead and take 5 minutes, please, and try to answer these. if you got something wrong and you want me to explain why you got it wrong, feel free to ask me, and I'll answer it for you. All right, let's take a look at it. Pat Mooney suggested that if we are to survive climate change, we must adopt policies that let peasants diversify the plant and animal species and varieties. It definitely doesn't match number 5, because number 5 is talking about collaborating, and it doesn't match number 7 because it's not talking about farmers can be helped out if there's financial input by the same individuals who buy from them. So Pat Mooney doesn't belong. Good job, Amir. Mooney's not there. All right, Murphy, collective action offers an important way for farmers to strengthen their political and economic bargaining power. Yes, that is a match for number 5. So number 5 is also B. And Gil Thorne warned that collective action does not come as a free good. It takes time, effort, and money to organize, build, trust, and experiment. All right. So Gil is actually number 7. I mean, not Gil Thorne. No, I'm sorry. Gil Thorne doesn't belong also. Yeah, Gil Thorne doesn't belong. We have one more. Sorry, we have one more to do. We have one more. Yes. All right, this is the one that we want right here. Sonali. All right. He wrote that the community supported agriculture where consumers invest in local farmers by subscription and guarantee product producers a fair price is a risk-sharing model worth attention. So this person, Sonali, is actually the match for number 7. Right? So for a matching question, that's all you're doing. Reading the sentence and seeing what matches. But we had 2 people that didn't belong. F, there was no answer for F. F did not belong. Gil Thorne or Pat Mooney didn't belong. Neither one belonged. Okay? Neither one belonged. All right? So that's how you do a matching question. They're not complicated. All right? But like I said earlier, if you're very weak in vocabulary, then you're going to have a problem doing this question because you're going to have trouble with the synonym language or understanding the sentence. All right? It's not like a fill the blank question. Okay, so let's go back and let's look at let's take a look now at our first question right here. Right now, we're looking at 1, 2, and 3. When we were looking at these paragraphs for the matching question, I didn't remember seeing anything about food production. I didn't recall seeing anything about certain parts of the world, but I did recall seeing something about cooperation in one of the paragraphs. Right? I remember seeing something about cooperation. And I remember that because in this paragraph right here, paragraph H, it talked about collective action. Collective action. Right? Working together. That means that this answer, this paragraph H, that's the match for number 3. So number 3 is actually H. That's what I mean by doing the other question first, the matching question first, and then being able to go back, and this question is a lot easier to do, right? So number 3, I was able to answer right away because I know what the keywords are, and I remember seeing those keywords in one of the paragraphs when I was answering the matching question. That's how that strategy works. Now, I did not recall seeing any information for number 1 and 2, so the first thing I'm going to do is check the paragraphs where I did not see the people's names, right? That's where I'm going to check first, right? I'm going to check the other paragraphs where I didn't see the people's names because I know the IELTS test designer wants to try to use all the paragraphs in a reading passage if they can. Right now, for a paragraph location question, this is how you make it easy for yourself. Right? Number 1 wants to know which paragraph has this information. Which paragraph talks about this information? When you're looking at a sentence in a paragraph, what sentence tells you what that paragraph is about? Does anybody know? What sentence tells you what the paragraph is about? Can anybody answer? If you know this answer, if you know the answer to my question, you're going to be able to do much, much better with this paragraph location. Which sentence always tells us what the paragraph is about? Anybody? No one knows? All right. Oh, good. Okay. Somebody answered. Thank you. I was going to get worried. No, not the last sentence. First sentence. Right? First sentence. Most of the time, with paragraph location, if you look at the topic sentence, you'll see where this information is located. So, for example, let's go back to the top. Why am I going to the top? I'm going to the top because paragraphs A, B, and C have not been used yet, right? I'm going to start with the paragraphs that have not been used yet. Look at paragraph A, topic sentence. 2 things distinguish food production from all other productive activities. That means that this whole paragraph is about food production. How do I know that? Because that's the topic sentence. Okay? That means that number 1 is A, about food production. Now somebody might say, well, what if you have 2 paragraphs about food production? It doesn't work that way. You're not going to have 2 paragraphs about the same controlling idea. All right? It does not work that way. You will not have 2 paragraphs about the same controlling idea. Next, I'm looking for something about different parts of the world and farmers. Right? Look at paragraph B. Farmers everywhere face major tasks, including extreme weather, long-term climate change. All right. However, small farmers in developing countries. Now it says farmers everywhere, and we also see developing countries. All right. It's not going to be paragraph C because that's dealing with online debating. So it's not paragraph C.